Alright, what's good, y'all? So I got a quick one today. It's just me showing you how I mix and master my beats. You can take anything in this video and just change it up till you like how it sounds. But hopefully this is just a solid starting point for you. You can leave a comment if you got any more questions for me. I'ma for surely answer them. That's pretty much it. Hopefully y'all learned something from the video, and I'm gonna see y'all on the next one. Peace. Alright, so here's how it sounds unmixed. Everything's pretty cluttered right now. Everything's loud. They're like fighting for space in the beat. And I'm gonna just take y'all through how I mix everything, how I make space for a little percussion, like the melodies and stuff. And yeah. Alright, so my master, for right now, I just have a soft clipper on it. I didn't change any settings. I just clicked soft clipper and that's it. So I like to start with my melodies first. I just EQ out the lows to make space for the 808 or the synth bass, whatever I'm using. And then I just level them at around like -30, -27. Like any of this you could change around to however you like it, but this is just how I do it. So yeah. So I'm gonna EQ out the lows on this little thing, even though there's not really any, it's just a habit. And then for this, I think I'm gonna just widen it a little bit since it's kind of like a background sound. And then for like Rhodes, I really like to, like after I cue out the bass, obviously, I really like to just throw like RC20 on it and just like slightly detune it. So I'll turn off the noise and the distortion, hit stereo, and I'll just make it like really subtle. Alright, and then I'll start mixing in the clap and just all the main drums first, and then I'll start throwing in perks. So for claps or snares, I'll put them around like -15. That's just where I like them. If you notice, I like to just pan pretty much all my sounds except for the kick and the bass, like left, right, just so there's more space in the middle for vocals and just for the kick to come through. So for hi-hats, I put them at around like -27. I might make them louder or more quiet if I'm like layering or whatever, but it's always around there. And I have a preset. It's basically just a delay for my hi-hats that I like to use sometimes. Let's bring in the stomp. Sometimes I'll just use this EQ for cutting out lows. It doesn't cut as well as the FabFilter one, obviously, but honestly for like drum sounds and stuff, I just find that it does the job well and it's just faster. So that's the reason for that. Bring the crash in. I'm gonna throw reverb on this just so the crash feels a little wider because it sounds like really dry right now. Man, I'm gonna do the same thing for the rim shot. Probably less reverb though, since it's like it's just a shorter sound, if that makes sense. So if I put too much reverb, it'll just ring out, and I don't really like that. So. And then I'm gonna pan the shaker to the right because I brought the rim shot to the left. So I always try to keep things like balanced. I don't really like it when like the right side of your ear or your right ear is just getting like all this percussion and the left side is kind of just empty. I don't really like that. So yeah. For the 808, I always make it mono. And I'll put it at like -15, so the same as my clap. Like in all my beats, the 808 and the kick are always just the loudest thing because I like it and a lot of other people like it. So yeah. And if it bothers you that it goes over, sometimes you could throw a limiter on it and just bring the threshold down and it'll flatten it out. But I like to just leave it alone, just let it do its thing. I don't really mind. And then for the kick, I have a preset, it's in my drum kit. But basically what it is it's an EQ, cuts off around 60. You're probably gonna have to move this around depending on the kick you use. But I just do that so it gets out of the way the 808. And then I have a clipper on it. You could use soft clipper. I just like T-Rex. And it's the gain reduction's at about like -3. So yeah, that's what that is. And the kick is always like the loudest thing in my mix. It's at -9. Nothing is even close to it. Alright, and then I'll go to the next section, which is this part where the lead comes in right here. So something I really like to do with leads is I have a preset for that too, but I'll go through it. I named a sine lead, but you could do it for whatever. I'll turn this off if it's not a sine lead, and then I have a reverb on it, just the default one. Turn it down a little. That just widens it. And then the fruity flangus, if you add it in and you just turn down and just make it really subtle, it kind of widens it more, but it gives it more movement. I'm gonna give it more reverb and more flangus. Alright, so the cowbell, I pan it pretty far to the left, just because the shaker is really far to the right, and like I said earlier, it just balances things out, because this rim shot, it's really subtle, so it doesn't really do a good job of balancing out the shaker, so the cowbell kind of does that. And then now I'm gonna do this section with the snap and the pluck. I'm gonna give it some reverb with Valhalla Room. Bring the Vox in. I'm gonna keep it quiet. And then the snap. Usually if I use a snap or a rim shot, sometimes it's too quiet, even if it's hitting at 15. So what you could do is if you go into the actual sound and you click on this and you clip it and you just boost it like a tiny bit. So you can see it's hitting at -21 now, but it's actually louder. So when you turn it back up to -15, it's clipping, so it's obviously gonna be louder. So I'm gonna take out the lows, and then I think I'm gonna give it reverb because it just sounds really dry. I'm gonna give it some delay. Alright, so once I'm done leveling everything, I like to go to just whatever the loudest section of the beat is. So for me, it'd be right here. And I'll just put a Ozone 8 maximizer over the clipper. I like to put the ceiling out to like -0.0 or -0.2 and just bring the threshold down until the gain reduction is at around like 3 or -3. So around right there is good. And then I'll bring the character down to about like 0.5. So what that basically does is it just makes the beat loud, because like before I put it on, it's at about like a little over -6, and then when I put the maximizer on, it goes to -0.0 or -0.2. And you might have to adjust some sounds, like the crash is really loud because basically it's acting as like a limiter. So you're gonna have to turn down some things because that's just what a limiter does. So yeah, that's pretty much how I mix slash master my beats before I send them out to artists or whatever. Let me know if you guys want a tutorial of how I lay out beats. That's a pretty short one. Yeah, now I'm gonna just play the whole beat for you, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Appreciate y'all watching. I hope it helped. Let me know if you got more questions, and yeah, I'll see y'all later.